Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Rapid Unscheduled Discussions, episode 9. And I am one of your hosts, Seth Kirk, and I'm here with the lovely Daryl Sausse.
Lovely. I've been called many things, sir. Lovely's been mixed in there
I
somewhere.
didn't
Yes, I'm
notice.
Daryl. Hey,
I didn't know
everybody.
what else
How's it
to call
going?
you. My bad. I apologize. I'll never call you lovely ever again, you ugly face.
Oh, God. Now I'm scared of what else you might call me. That's great.
That's as far as I go. I'm too nice. I'm from Wisconsin. Come on. We're nice up there.
Oh, with
We're,
Wisconsin.
we're basically Canadians.
Oh, yeah.
We're Canadians who don't like hockey as much, love football more, and it's more about beer and cheese and poutine and maple syrup.
Go,
But other
Pack,
than that,
go.
yeah, football Packers. The only team that does not have an owner. It is a publicly traded team.
Hey, I wonder what they're trading at right now.
I don't even know. I don't even know what their even thing is. That's how bad. That's how bad of a Packer fan I am. I love them when they get to the playoffs, but I don't know
Oh, no.
anything about.
Now I'm curious. Let's go.
But I don't know if you can actually trade them like you would a normal stock, because you can't just buy a share. Because I don't think there's any shares left.
Oh, it's one of those private things. They're not publicly traded, but they're like, I don't know. They're split up amongst a bunch of different people.
Yeah, like they do, like their shares are public to get, but they're not on like the stock exchange. I don't think.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. But there's
Yeah,
no
well-
more. There's no more shares.
Oh,
All their shares are sold that they've made available. So like when they need more money, they'll open up more shares.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the NFC South is going to be a hell of a division this year.
Nah, yeah.
Please,
Wait.
football season, don't get canceled.
Yeah. What? Oh, Packers on NFC East, right?
They're not in the South. You want to know
Well-
who is in the South? The Saints and Drew Brees and the
And-
Tampa Bay Bucks and
the
Tom Brady.
Buccaneers. Oh man.
Brees and Brady twice a year at minimum. Oh yes.
That's
Oh
gonna
yes.
be-
This is going to be good.
I saw a rumor that he was going to go to Miami,
hmm
and I'm like, might become a Dolphins fan. Might be becoming a Dolphins fan. getting some tickets.
Come on, bro.
I mean, they're still going to be terrible but with Brady, can they really be that bad?
I mean,
It's Brady.
have you filled out your change of bandwagon form yet?
I've never listen. I'm a Packer fan, all right, by heart. I've always been a Packer fan. I was a Packer fan this year when they were doing really good this year. Packer fan the year before, they weren't doing so good.
Hey, did I?
I was a Packer fan back when they won the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I don't remember what year it was because I'm horrible, but I at least
Bad
remember.
Packers fan. Bad Packers fan. Well, let's get off of football and talk space. Yeah, surprisingly, we got a couple of things to talk about. I think we can round out a good show with the
I
stuff we
can't
got.
wait to rant about SLS this week.
Oh,
That could
go ahead.
fill up an hour. All right.
This is your thing. Go ahead and start.
I
about
don't have
SLS.
all the bookmarks for it because I have been very tired this week and I'm lazy and I didn't even want to open up all the tabs. So
Oh, who cares? Train.
it's just gonna
Just
be our faces this stream. I'm not gonna share any
Just
screens. Hold on, let me
Wait,
just pull up. Yeah, it'll just be our faces. It's whatever. It might just be my face. Who knows? Fun fact though, this is one thing interesting that I'm gonna say. This is gonna be the one I'm gonna start off my rant with something positive. Did you know that the core stage of SLS will be near in orbit when it's done?
Like it'll have orbital velocity and altitude.
It will be
When it's expended.
suborbital. It will still be suborbital, but it will. This is what Christy talked about. So it was a tweet by Everyday Astronaut, which for once I'm actually wearing his hat. I haven't worn his hat in forever, but I'm wearing it.
Huh.
Shout out to Tim.
Tim.
He said he cannot figure out why SLS Block 1 has LEO capability of 95 tons, when the space
Oh.
shuttle could do 122 tons, with factoring in the orbiter and payload. Chris G just tweeted, he said, remember too, the entire core stage is basically inserted into orbit. Granted, it's barely a suborbital trajectory, but still need to account for all the mass LEO. Because, I mean, it makes sense how big
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be very similar to Shuttle, which got 80% of its thrust from the SRBs.
It was okay. 80% from the SRBs.
It was about 80%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And these are larger SRBs,
Yeah.
a larger tank, and then a fourth engine.
Yeah.
It makes sense, but that thing's going to be getting in orbit.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be a low orbit, but it'll be in orbit. And besides, this thing's going to the moon, so like you're not.
So
it makes sense.
Is it gonna do a propulsive passivation when it's done?
Is it going to fly?
Ooh, we're coming in hot.
I mean, that's a valid question right now.
In the show. No, that is a valid question, and actually, I've got an article pulled up right now from Gizmodo, which they're not usually a source for spaceflight stuff, and they're basically saying that everything closing down because of the coronavirus means the moon trip is going to have to wait because.
So we might see it. So spoiler alert: it might not launch next year. What a surprise!
Well, right now it's still sitting early in the year, so depending on how long everything drags out. Yeah, it's like spring, early spring, something like that.
And technically the only thing that needs to be done is the green run, I believe.
Yeah, but the problem is that right now, all of NASA's facilities are at least at a stage 3, which means, people go work from home and stuff like that. All the critical people come in.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's life and mission critical is always two that are there.
Yeah, life and mission critical. But Stennis, where the green run test is being done, and NASA Michoud right here in New Orleans are at stage 4, which means everybody stop and get your ass home.
Yeah, I think it's like only life and like security.
Which is neither of these facilities here, and it's funny enough.
Yeah, they don't really have anything. The only ones that has like life would be like Johnson. Yeah.
Johnson, which is taking care of the guys.
Possibly Kennedy.
I was wondering about that.
If they have explosives on there, they got to get that stuff handled and moved somewhere secure, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
But I assume the military is going to take care of that over there. In conjunction.
They move when there's a hurricane. They move into the Air Force moves into the VAB and the Mission Control.
Yeah.
They camp out there.
Yeah. But to say Kennedy is critical for life and mission, I can see where you still have to get things going for the Perseverance rover.
Yeah,
launching
Perseverance
in July.
Or
but everything else's launch window can wait.
Resupply missions.
And how many are actually coming up where they have the stuff?
I don't know when the next ones will be on. Well, here's the thing. I don't know when the next ones are going to be for SpaceX because they are no longer doing Dragon 1. They're only going to be doing Dragon 2.
Exactly. So. And, you just had a Cygnus launch and a Dragon launch. So
they're good for a while. They're good for another couple. Probably like 6 months or something like that. But
they're good for a bit.
And then there's also Progress and... Does JAXA still have their thing?
JAXA still launches. Yep.
Oh, I know they still launch. I don't know they launch resupply missions anymore, but...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they do.
Okay.
They had one last year where they brought up new batteries to the station.
Okay. But, so we're not going to be getting a green run, which I think is the last thing for Artemis 1, is the green run test.
Pretty much, yeah. And then they bring it over and assemble it.
Is that core stage also going to be used then for Artemis 1?
Yes.
Nice.
That is the core stage that
so much reusability.
That will fly. Yeah.
So much reusability.
I wonder we should get a poll going. What's going to get up in space first? Artemis 1 or James Webb?
James Webb might not happen because of it's relying on ESA, and ESA is almost completely shut down too. And then
they shut down everything.
That's in French Guiana, which is going to cause even more issue. Well, technically, that's when you travel from France to French Guiana, it's not considered international travel, I believe. So, because French Guiana is part of France, though it is in a separate continent.
Yeah, but basically everything, all of life, the world is just like on hold at the moment. And actually, while we were right after we went live, I just found an article that says Bigelow Aerospace lays off entire workforce. That happened today.
Bigelow laid off their entire workforce, so
Bigelow laid off
they're not just
everybody.
shutting down like for coronavirus. They're shutting down. Period.
No, it is coronavirus, corona related.
Okay.
And I wish the terminology would be a little better. You know, if they say, all right, we're sending everybody home, we're stopping all of our operations, that's not a layoff.
Mm,
If these people are going to have a job when all this is over and you want to start up again, they're not laid off,
yeah.
kind of, sort of.
So
You know, like
they're
just
laid off.
I was laid off. I was let go by my employer last year. You
Mm,
know, that's laid off. You're let go. You no longer have a job with us. Peace out. If these people still have a job, say they still have a job.
yeah, I don't
You
think
know,
a job. I think
I,
they use those words pretty. They mean those words when they say layoff. So
yeah,
it seems like Bigelow is not doing well anymore. Then
no,
yeah,
but
which sucks.
if
I
any,
had big hope.
I know, I know. If anybody wants to read it, Space News, Jeff Faust, who writes for them, just put it out today. I haven't had a chance to read over all of it yet. I probably will later on.
All right, back to my rant.
Go for your rant.
Breathe, breathe. So this stupid. No, I'm not good. So they pretty much the NASA Advisory Council decided that they didn't want to push back the landing due to um, a pushback in Gateway, which is the pretty much the ISS of the moon, because they care more about the landing than they do about having a presence at the moon, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Because someone who lives on Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C. cares about his moon landing. Not necessarily about. This is where I get it. It's like he cares about getting his landing on the moon. He doesn't really care about actually growing the space industry, which he
No.
is doing, but he wants his moon landing. I wish we were more focused on Artemis like we were on the shuttle program because the shuttle was created pretty much for the sole purpose by the time it actually was getting built for the ISS, to build the ISS. It had promises of other things which it drastically failed at, but it was built to build the ISS.
Mm-hmm.
Artemis doesn't seem to have that type of dedication anymore. It's no longer. It's just a rocket. SLS exists because Gateway exists, but SLS is happening faster than Gateway because someone wants the moon landing.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not saying we shouldn't have SLS anymore because how else are we going to get the Gateway? We
Right.
should be focused on Gateway. That's what we should be focused on. We shouldn't be focused on moon landings come with Gateway, but we need a we. I don't want to. We shouldn't have another moon landing. We did that 50 years ago. We've done that. We can land on the moon. Going back to the moon isn't going to prove anything other than we can still do it.
But it's going to be a great moon landing, a huge moon landing, the landingest moon landing ever. It's going to be huge.
I feel like I know I'm probably preaching to the choir. Anyone who lives here, it's like we want a presence on the moon. Like we don't want another moon landing.
It's you look at the other side of it. For how many administrations, regardless of political affiliation, they've half-assed it. They really have half-assed it. And you know, they said, "Oh, we're going to Mars in 10 years, 15 years, you know, something like that." This guy's like, "No, we're going there this fast." And
it's
you
happening.
know,
I mean, you got to give him credit for that. He said it and it's happening.
you got to. And
Yeah.
other politics aside, I'll throw it out there. I absolutely hate the guy. But as far as spaceflight goes, he picked a good administrator, somebody with an open mind, which I don't think he picked him on his own. Somebody told him to pick him. And then somebody told him to put forth this moon effort really fast. And, you know, he tried to invoke Kennedy. They always try to invoke Kennedy when they go for the
he's
new
not doing it
whatever.
very well at all.
Oh, no.
I cannot listen to him talk. He's not motivating at all. But
Terrible.
listen to him talk because I like what he says about the moon. Like I like what he says about space.
Even he has almost flip-flopped on it before. Don't forget that.
Yes.
He has almost flip-flopped on it before, where he said, "Why are we stopping at the moon? Let's just go straight to Mars." And then somebody was like, "No, no, sir, come back this way. Come back this way. Come here. Come here.
Well, it's
We're
also
gonna talk. We're gonna talk. Come here.
the thing is,
Come
is
here."
that he does all of his stuff publicly.
Yeah.
Even Kennedy wanted to cancel the Apollo program.
It was also a different time. You know, they were actually racing against another.
He thought
We're not racing against another superpower.
Yeah.
We're not racing against any other superpower right now. It's just nobody knows what to do. But here's the other great thing. You know, I saw a tweet recently where somebody asked, "What is no Democratic candidate has said what their spaceflight policy is." And if you think about it, it's kind of tough to get wrong. Like, as long as you're not completely canceling NASA or cutting their budget by more than 10 or 15%, it's kind of hard to get it wrong. I mean, at this point, SLS, yeah, it's going to happen. We're stuck with it. So we're just going to see it all the way through.
I think, like, I was listening to Arlie Lucas Future, and one big component why I was still on, not a big component, probably a good amount of it to why I was still very pro SLS and pro, like, what NASA's doing, is Tim Dodd was very pro SLS. It has his job, it has his thing. I still know it has his thing. He said on his podcast, he's done with SLS. He thinks it's the stupidest thing in the world now.
Really?
And I'm like,
I didn't listen to it.
Yeah, he is not. He was not. I'm looking up how much he has SpaceX. How much? Well, this is for the next thing. But yeah, like, I'm still like SLS. Gateway exists. Well, SLS exists because of Gateway, because we're the only ones. We're the only ones offering a ride to Gateway. Gateway is an international project, but right now it seems like it's a ESA and NASA show.
I mean,
even then,
yeah,
NASA I think is doing twice as much as the twice as many things than ESA, but ESA is doing like 5 items, I think, or 4 items. Canada has its robotics. We're not going to make fun of Canada for its robotics. They make great robotics. They're the best robotics in the world. Yeah, but JAXA,
tell me the last time you heard a complaint about the Canadarm.
Never.
Exactly. Leave Canada alone.
I love Canada. I love Canada.
Leave Canada alone.
But Russia is the only thing Roscosmos is doing is it's like an adapter for more ports. Like,
okay,
Russia, step up, build a rocket. Like, come on. Like, if it's gonna be similar to the ISS,
Soyuz.
Soyuz can't get to. Soyuz is not rated for deep space. Soyuz is LEO only.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They would have to.
Wait,
I mean,
isn't there a new Soyuz coming?
Maybe, but I don't know if that's deep space ready.
Ooh.
I don't know. I don't think the Soyuz is being. I know it's Soyuz the rocket or Soyuz the capsule.
So wait, I'm assuming
there's Soyuz the rocket and then there's Soyuz the capsule.
Yeah, that's true. So wait, where's it going to be assembled at? Is it getting assembled in lunar orbit or?
Yeah, Gateway. Yeah, Gateway will be assembled in lunar orbit.
Okay.
It'll be assembled very similar to ISS, except they won't. I don't think it'll be physically assembled. I think it'll be all through robotics.
Oh,
which is why the Canadarm is so important, because I think the Canadarm will be taking the part of the shuttle. Like it instead of having the shuttle there and people doing EVAs to build it, it's going to be all done through the Canadarm. There might be some EVAs, but probably not.
Yeah, later on.
Yeah.
I don't know. But keep going with your rant.
Oh, I'm trying to find right now because the next thing it's just a punch in the kidneys. Like, I can't imagine who. Trying to find. Do they have numbers? Please tell me they have numbers for this. Okay, so the lovely. What is it called? Umbilical tower for SLS. I was doing this. You're supposed to understand what this meant. Come on now.
Wrong camera.
See that one?
I still would not get it. Like totally lost.
The launch tower, they launched a umbilical tower for SLS.
Oh, okay.
Did it cost, or is it costing? Let's see here. NASA will spend $1 billion on a mobile launch platform for the space launch system that will only be used 4 times. What the actual... Whoever wrote that contract on the contractor side is genius, because you just screwed over the NASA on that one. You literally screwed them over on that.
It's government spending, man. They're gonna pay it.
Yeah, they don't give a crap. They pay anything really, pretty much. But I'm trying to find the number on how much SpaceX spent on 39A, the renovated, as a whole. I'm trying to find that number somewhere, but I believe it was in the millions.
Yeah.
Yeah, like millions, and that thing has been. But you gotta also see how much has that been renovated over the years. Has not been renovated. I don't think it's been renovated that much. I mean, you refurbish it for probably a couple $1,000, but there's nowhere near $1 billion.
You can't compare them. No, you can't compare them because they're serving 2 different launch vehicles. Really, the only thing left at 39A from the old days is the square fixed service structure.
Yeah.
You just put an arm on it to walk across. That's it. Doesn't do anything else.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the transporter erector. That's pretty much what the umbilical tower is. Yes, it's much larger. Yes, it had to be redone several times for all the different variations of the rocket.
You're not gonna get something where you could walk it out there on its side and then lift it up. It has to be built vertically. That's why you need the big launch transporter.
Yeah, and this is why it's. But there's no way. I can get behind the $1 billion because it probably had to be redone how many different times. It's way taller. You have to modify some of that. I think the crawlers are considered like national historic things or like that. That's probably a pain to get around. So how you got to modify that? Okay, cool. $1 billion. 4 launches. If I'm spending $1 billion, that thing better last forever. Just saying. That thing better have a club at the top for the astronauts to party at before they get on top. Open bar too. Don't pull me with that not cash bar bull crap when you're spending $1 billion. Open bar.
I mean, look at our shows. We're going to advocate for an open bar. Duh.
Open bars. I'm from Wisconsin. If it's not an open bar, it's not a wedding.
Cheers.
Yeah, my boss's. I got invited to my boss's daughter's. What are they called? Bat mitzvahs.
Bar mitzvah.
Bar mitzvahs for a guy. Bat mitzvahs for a girl.
Bar and ba.
Bar and bat.
Okay, ba. The bat.
Well, I'm from Wisconsin, so it's bat. Bat. He said open bar, and I'm like, I'm there. It's go time. I was 10 drinks in before the game had dinner. Yeah, I was sitting down, and I'm like, okay, we have just got into the dining room, away from cocktail hour. Put the glass down, pick up my water, chug it, ask someone for a refill, chug it, grab a few pretzels, stuff it down my gullet. Okay, cool. Sew it up a little bit.
Nice.
Yep. But, dude, $1 billion for 4 launches. That's just... The guy who wrote that contract's a genius.
I mean, think about how much each launch is going to cost. Over $1 billion.
It's going to be close to $1 billion, I think.
Over?
Yeah.
The shuttle wasn't cheap either.
The shuttle was not cheap. None of NASA's launches were cheap. So, I mean, this is hands down the last rocket NASA will ever build. Hands down. They'll never build another rocket again. One, because this has been a decade of delays and over budget. Plus, also they it's like what's a good analogy? They put themselves out of the business really with the commercial partners. Like in my opinion, Obama did the best for the space industry, even though he cut a bunch. He built the commercial industry to what it is now. He at least helped.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Bush helped build the Ares program. Obama helped build the commercial partners. Trump pushed it to where it is now. Like,
yeah.
They put like, and which is a good thing because commercial gets it done way faster.
What Trump has done has emphasized a necessity for commercial by forcing SLS on us.
Yeah, he has shown us that the government can't do things anywhere near close as well as the commercial.
Right.
But the commercial showed us that we still, even though even that, like I would say, usually you go with the government does things first. They risk they risk the lives, they risk the money and the infrastructure to do things no one's ever done. But they're stuck. But they're going to the moon, putting a presence on the moon, which we need and we should do. But Elon's spending how many millions and millions of dollars to go to Mars?
But
like we no
take
longer...
into account how much of that is taxpayer funded, like stuff from NASA, which goes to these corporations, or how much of that is like internal money.
I think we're at the point to where SpaceX. Well, no, we're getting close to the point where SpaceX doesn't need the government. Most of their launches are private. Most of the launches are private. Actually, half of their launches this year, I think, are going to be internal.
It's anything except CRS and crew flights. What's the designation for that going to be?
CST, I think. DM2, because I think it sounded like the DM2 Wikipedia, whatever like that. Okay, DM2, I forgot. That is multiple things.
Ooh, there's a NOTAM up for Astra's launch. Hey, Astra's trying to launch again tomorrow.
I'm interested to see if AEHF 6 launches. Yeah, that's probably going to launch. It's a military
mission.
Going. That's going to launch.
It's still going. Southcom, which we talked about. Did we talk about it, Donor? I don't know. Southcom's on hold indefinitely. USCV. Okay.
Yes. Which I'm okay with that. That's kind of cool. That's kind of a cool name.
Yeah.
United States Crew Vehicle 1. Don't think that's I mean, when you actually see what it says, it's not the greatest name, but USCV-1 sounds cool.
Yeah, it's alright.
I'm still waiting for a better name than SLS. Still waiting on that one.
It could be worse.
I mean,
it could be worse.
We had Redstone. Atlas,
actually, funny story about all that is you know that podcast I told you about, The Space Above Us?
Yeah.
So he goes in to explain what the official internal designation of the mission is. It's usually a combination of the rocket name and the serial number of the vehicle and what mission it is and whatnot. Like the most recent one I heard was about Apollo 1. The internal designation was AS-204.
Yep.
For Apollo on a Saturn vehicle, Block 2. No, I forget what the 2 and the 0 was, but it was Mission 4. So apparently Apollo 2 and 3 are just lost in the ether. Like, he could not track down where they were. And if anybody who listens to the show ever figures out what happened to Apollo 2 and 3, let us know on Twitter, please.
I know they did 2 more test launches.
They did. That was...
And I think they considered those 2 and 3.
No, those were 4 and 5.
Oh, was it? Okay.
There was 4 and 5, which was just a command module, and then 6 had a lunar module with it too.
Okay. Because I remember I thought they did 2 launches where they weren't designated any numbers. They weren't designated any Apollo anything. And they just, after Apollo 1, they just designated those Apollo 2 and 3 out of, like, respect, like, there's not going to be a 2 or 3. Or something. It was something like that. I don't remember what they were. It's weird. It is weird. But we're going...
That's how they do it.
Yeah. Even though, okay, technically the shuttle was STS, so SLS is fine.
Space Transport System.
It was a space shuttle. Like...
Yeah.
We're called the space shuttle. And then we're going to SLS. And, like, you could have stuck with the Ares. Stuck with the name Ares. That's an interesting rocket name. It's better than SLS.
They'll probably start calling them Artemis for moon ones, and
Artemis
then
one.
call them by their mission name for whatever else, like Europa Clipper and things like that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because they didn't call it a, they called it no, they still call it a Saturn V because that's the name of the rocket. But I was talking about for, like, Skylab.
Yeah, Skylab was, I don't.
They just called it, I mean, the name of the rocket is still Saturn V. Like, they didn't call the rocket Apollo 11. They called the rocket Saturn V still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the vehicle
It's
itself.
Artemis 1 on top of a SLS, which sucks. Gosh.
Dude, this stuff has been confusing ever since. Yeah. Forever. It's been confusing how they number this stuff, and they will not stop making it confusing.
Yeah, I hope that they still allow the crew to name their capsule.
Ooh, they're not going to give them a lot of latitude on it.
No, they're not. But well, they've been really limited ever since we had Apollo 10. when they
Spider
named it,
Gumdrop.
No, it was Snoopy, Charlie Brown, and
that's right, Snoopy and Charlie Brown. Well, and they were also worried about one of the I think it was like Gemini 3 when they
Gumdrop. What was Spider and Gumdrop? Oh, was that Apollo 9?
9 or 10, one of those. But there was also
10 was at the moon. That was I know 10 was
okay.
Charlie Brown and
there was also Gemini 3, which was named the Unsinkable Molly Brown, which after the loss of 1 or 2 Mercury cabs, NASA's like, we really don't like this, guys. Come on, quit being jerks.
It was Spider and Gumdrop for Apollo 9.
Okay.
That was the one that was in LEO.
Okay.
Yeah. That was just a test to make sure things worked still. Oh yeah, that's the one that did an EVA out. That's a really interesting picture. Well, they actually did an EVA. Okay, I guess I'll show a picture for the launch, for the stream. There you go, guys. Yay! I didn't share with you, though.
That's alright. I got the... Oh, ooh, yeah, I like that
That is a really cool looking... Well, my regular stuff. Where they actually did an EVA. That's cool. A very interesting EVA suit, though. A red helmet.
It's... Oh, I forgot the story about the red helmet. Crap. I don't know. It's in the podcast somewhere. I've been binging The Space Above Us whenever I'm driving somewhere lately, and I know it's in there somewhere. We'll have to invite JP on the show one day. He does a really good podcast, The Space Above Us, where he does like short 20, 30 minutes at the most show about each manned space flight, plus a couple of other supplemental episodes or build-up episodes and things like that. Oh. Really, really great. Really worth checking
out.
And
here's that little picture I saw with the what each agency would be doing. This only shows NASA with 5, but technically NASA is also building the SLS, which would be 6. And ESA is doing 3. JAXA is helping ESA with the habitation module.
Okay.
Canada's doing the robotics, which we're all cool with. But Roscosmos, multi-purpose module. You can do more. We have faith. Russian engineering is solid. We've seen you land those jets on their bellies and stand them back out, put them on the landing legs.
You say it's solid, but when they screw up, they screw up.
Oh, when they screw up bad. But, it's only happened like 3 times they've had bad issues. Like, they had the abort on the mid-launch abort with the
They had an abort, yes.
They had the hole in the Soyuz. And then, what was the third one?
Proton.
Oh, yeah, Proton.
Dude,
Proton. That's right.
That's one of my favorite rocket blow-ups ever. That's probably my second or third favorite one.
It's like they don't believe in flight termination, which is, it's still Russian to not believe in flight termination.
That's such a Russian thing.
Yeah.
In Soviet Russia, flight terminates you. Not really, which we saw on that crude launch. What?
Oh.
That's like a year and a half ago now, huh?
Talk about flights terminating you. China.
What? Oh.
Horrible segue. They're trying to recover fairings now, apparently.
Wait, hold up. That's not where I thought you were going to go with this.
Yeah, I didn't want to go with anything else. I wanted to, but thought it was funny with the flights terminated, but it's a horrible joke. Um, yeah. I guess they're trying to do a launch soon. I think this week. I think, where they're gonna try to recover the.
Oh, is this that private
Thing.
company?
Is it the private company? Maybe. Yeah, I guess so.
Because they also tried the maiden launch of the Long March 7, their heavy lift vehicle.
Oh yeah, that did
Nope,
not happen.
didn't work.
Nope,
It
did not.
it happened, just
Yeah, it
not all the
just
way.
no.
The third stage apparently failed in flight. I think
Oh, was
failed
it
to
third
ignite or
stage?
something like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I did not watch that string, so.
nobody did. It was not
Was it
live.
not? Was it not live? I thought it was live.
Dude, you're never able to see Chinese launches until after the fact.
Oh, okay.
Like you can see the video of them, but you gotta wait for it to end
Oh
up
yeah, because
on the Chinese social media like
we only
Weibo.
knew about
Whatever.
it was through social media about other people posting about it.
Yep, yep. And well, I guess we've finally come around to it. There was another uh
Not a failure.
failure from a vehicle.
Not a failure.
Why?
A temporary issue that caused still for mission success. Just secondary mission did not happen.
Okay, secondary mission failure.
Secondary mission failure.
And what have I been saying ever since January? What have I been saying?
I don't know, what have you been saying? I actually don't
The
know.
ghost of Booster 1046 is real, y'all. It look at this.
We've had
two
issues.
Two Starlink launches in a row.
So
1046 called. Oh, excuse me, damn beer. 1046 called two more of its booster buddies home. Like we murdered a booster, y'all, and the rocket gods are not happy. The ghost of 1046 is real.
Here's my theory about me just throwing things out there because I'm an armchair engineer.
Oh,
my thing about why they haven't been able to stick the landing these last two Starlinks they have a different orbit to where they only have to do one burn of their upper stage. They don't have to do multiple burns. So, which possibly means that they launch their rockets much more steep than normal. So you know how the Atlas launches?
Yeah.
The Atlas launches pretty straight up because of how underpowered the RL-10 is. It's very efficient but not very powerful. So they have to launch it higher up out of the atmosphere, so it doesn't have to fight with the atmosphere while it's trying to go horizontal.
So it doesn't have as much of a gravity turn as Falcons.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. So with SLSs, I believe they do something similar with that. So the Merlin Vacuum Merlin has less atmosphere to fight with on their burn.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll only do one burn, which means it's a much spicier reentry. Because if you guys haven't noticed,
that's my phrase. That's a spicy booster.
Yeah, a little more. It was a little more spicier than normal usually.
Well,
but like, if you guys don't know that Starlink, they lost an engine on their first stage.
Yeah.
Which was not a center engine because they still did the reentry burn.
I think it was one of the three that's not required. That's not. It wasn't one of the three that's used on the entry or landing burn, but I think it screwed it up aerodynamically.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if there was any debris. I don't think we know yet whether or not. We don't know whether or not it. The engine catastrophically failed, or it shut down. I don't think we know that.
I don't think a shutdown will look like that. And that's just me being an armchair engineer.
I think it looked more of a shutdown rather than an explosion.
That looked fairly energetic.
Well, you have that when things stop working in an engine, things kind of go.
Yeah, you'll have like a flame out, or you'll have like a little poof.
Which I think that plume was just that little flame out, which was different than what a normal plume would look like, interaction with the other plumes.
I don't know. At that altitude and those speeds, a flame out would not look like that. That was a bang. Yeah. That was a poof.
Let's see. I feel like Elon tweeted said it was a shutout. It was a shutdown.
No. Let's see.
I'm looking it up right now. I just misspelled Musk. He spelled the K, now let's see. Okay.
Man tweets so much.
I know, we're never going to find it, are we?
Uh, Saturday night.
Okay, March. What time did that? When did that launch?
Did he get rid of it or something? Or hold on, am I not seeing?
It was maybe it was a reply, which is probably
Yeah.
never gonna happen. Fear.
He's also been going on and on about the coronavirus stuff, which a lot of people are kind of taking him to town for it. Like,
What with the
the,
ventilators?
just the way he needs to take it more seriously.
Oh, yeah, he's not very taking it seriously at all.
No, he's not, and that's a discussion for another show, another day.
Yeah,
Not
we're
us.
not on any of those shows, so we're just not discuss it. But we're gonna look for
Yeah.
this tweet and see if there's
Uh,
somewhere.
we're gonna find it.
Listen, we will pause this show before we find it.
uh,
We're not very professional about this. We just like pausing in the middle. So we're just gonna keep on talking about how we're gonna find this.
Side note: he said SpaceX is working on ventilators along with Tesla, so good
Yeah,
on them.
they both do it for Tesla does it for the cars, and then SpaceX does it for the Dragons. So
Yeah.
that's all he's been talking about for the past couple of days, eh?
Yeah.
You can tell I'm partly Canadian because it's A. Okay, hold up. March 18th, successful deployment of Falcon 9 rocker. Self quarantine itself in the ocean. That was a great one.
Yep.
Become. Oh, we're so close. Okay, so deployment. SpaceX mid to late May for Crew Dragon. We'll see if that holds.
Yeah.
Probably won't.
I lost it. I think it's gone.
I think he did delete it.
Damn you, Elon.
Man, that sucks. I swear he said it was a early shutdown. Or early loss of thrust.
Yeah, early loss of thrust, which read between the lines on that one.
The thing is, though, I'm trying to think because they had the issue they had before the launch was over the engines were throttling too high. They were over 100%. So that's why it shut down because the engines were over 100%. So maybe my thought is that if it went too high, they would the engine the rocket already knows to shut it down. So if it went too high, if it had a similar issue, they would have shut it down. But maybe it blew up. But I feel like if it blew up, there'd be way more debris. We didn't see a lot of debris. We just saw a lot of gas.
Well, again, at those speeds and the energy of an explosion, that debris would be gone in a hurry. And how many people I've corrected on Twitter, on Facebook, I think I even did one on Instagram, which I'm never on Instagram. All these people saying at T plus 6 minutes and change, the little thing floating by the screen, that's ice, y'all. It happens every single damn time
mission.
on both stages.
And whenever there's an issue, they always blame the ice.
It's ice every time, y'all. Every single time. I tell people, go back and look at X mission. You know, pick a mission. Go back and look. You'll see it every time. It's ice. Trust me.
Every single time. All right.
Every single time.
My screen is it gonna show? My screen. There we go.
Oh, you're playing it.
So I brought it up. We're gonna watch. I don't know when it actually happens, but I feel like it happens sooner rather than later.
At 2:20 something, just let it play out.
Yeah. But
you'll never find it scrubbing on YouTube.
Yeah, never.
You'll never
here's
find
another
it.
reason why. Like Das also talked about it being he figured there was more liquid than normal.
Oh wait, what's?
There it is.
Yeah, poof.
It was just gas. Like if it was, you would have seen material fly out.
What? Like it burped?
Yeah, like it just burped. Like there was an air bubble or something like that in there, and so it just shut it all down. And then it had that little like flame out.
it could have been, an explosive failure, but whatever blew up didn't blow parts out of it.
Yeah. Um,
But I don't know.
Whatever it
It
is,
it
it
screwed
didn't.
something up.
It didn't. It wasn't the center engine, so it didn't have any issues with
Right.
reentry. But after reentry, let's see if we can find reentry here.
About right there.
Here we go. Um, you can see
Ooh,
it did not come out stable at all after reentry.
Yeah, it was starting to twist a little bit.
So this seems all fine. It got very
Actually, you see how much it had to correct during the burn. It never has to correct that much usually. It
well.
usually corrects like after or before it burns,
It got
but never
much
during.
dirtier than normal as well. Much dirtier. But that could
Such a
be due to
dirty
just the
boy.
angle of it as well. But yeah, then
Yeah.
it came out yawing, not yawing, but rolling, having tried to control the its roll, and then that was all we saw from it. So
And then I called him out on Twitter because I was like, "Hey, you cut the feed again when you're weren't gonna do that after 16." And what did they do? They did it again.
I don't think they cut it. I think they lost it.
It goes in and out all the time. I know that, but
Yeah, but I think if they would have cut it, they would have cut it before it froze. The image froze.
eh,
So it didn't seem like it. So it looked like it just went out.
I also think they knew it was going to happen before it happened. Because if you listen to the audio, at one point you'll hear like a very faint communication in the background. I haven't gone back and listened too close to figure out what it was, but it's definitely not the normal call outs over the nets. So I think they knew beforehand and they kind of like scaled back the audio. Like they only let certain things through on the nets, which, I'm sure for ITAR reasons or security reasons, whatever, they probably do that regardless. But I think they cherry pick the audio transmissions they get put out. So I think they knew before they lost it that they were going to lose it.
One thing is that there's also they probably do something similar to how what they did what NASA did. NASA does. So they have the several different loops.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. They
So
have several different loops and they're on a delay too.
they're probably only listening on the flight director loop, which doesn't have everything. It's only certain people that the flight director wants on that loop.
Right.
Which is why if you ever go to those websites for that you can listen back all of the Apollo, if you click on a flight director, you won't hear everyone.
Right.
You'll hear only like a couple different people. You have
Right.
to like select different through. I would always go through the random ones, especially like back the Apollo 11.
Apollo
50th.
11 in real time.
Oh, there are some that are.
Wait.
Oh, there's some gold in those clips, bro.
Wait.
They're
He just put out the same guy who did Apollo 11 in real time.
mm-hmm.
Just put out Apollo 13 in real time.
Mm-hmm.
All kinds of audio that has
The
like
gold
never been heard before.
is like 15 hours before launch. Like there's some gold in those tracks.
15 hours before launch?
Yeah, they go that far back. Oh yeah, for Apollo 11. Like
I'm pulling it up now.
like the night before the launch. Like there are some gold. There's some gold in those where they're talking about like early. I remember I woke up at like 5 a.m. or something like that, and so the morning crew was coming in, and you can hear it all. Everyone coming in, and some guy didn't wake up, and he was late, and so they called him over the nets, like over the intercom, over it all, and you can hear him wake up, and he's like, "Huh? Like you missed your alarm? Huh? You missed your alarm, didn't you? I'll be here in 15."
You can go back to like 20 hours before.
Oh yeah, there's some gold in those clips, bro. It's great. I don't know when that guy got called from being called in late. I don't know when that is, but he seemed hung. He sounded
Hold on,
hungover.
I gotta pull it up right now. I'm trying to listen.
Oops, daisy.
Hold on. Can you hear my audio?
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it. Where
It's they're so low key as well in this. So it's like instead of being like when you get during launch, it's very like yes, no, whatever. But like back like 20 hours beforehand, it's just all just conversation. And it's kind of weird. It's kind of like, do you think these guys knew they're going to be listened to like 50 years from now? That people are going to be like listening to this back 50 years
Whoa.
after.
You see this little video that's playing too? It's showing like people going to Jetty Park and things like that.
Oh yeah. The screen.
That's cool.
Yeah. The videos are great. Is Jenny? Hold on, let me move your thing over. Go back a little bit.
It's right there.
Oh, they still call it Jetty Park. It's the same.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder if that sign's still there.
I
don't think it is, but I wonder if
know.
they have that sign somewhere because that's a cool sign.
I think we're gonna need a local to fill us in on that one.
Yeah. I'll be honest.
Jeez, look at all the VI. You know what's funny? Whenever I watch the Apollo 11 doc, which is all the time, I can't help. So it's like middle of July, butt ass hot, Florida swamp, and all these people looking basically almost straight up at the sun to see this thing launch.
Dresses.
Oh my!
Like,
dude, I start sweating watching the video.
I don't know
like,
how they do it, dude.
That's the downside of that stuff being restored to like full HD because the film quality back then was obnoxiously good. They just didn't know it at the time. It makes me sweat just watching. I'm like, Jesus Christ, now I'm hot. Oh God, it's hot.
Did you see? I think it was Ryan Bale. Hold up, let me get that correct. I think it was Ryan Bale.
What's that?
He did a video. What someone did, a film video when at the Starlink press before press.
Yeah, no, that was
Ryan.
not Ryan Bale.
It was who was it?
That was.
Was it Kevin Quick?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It was either Ryan Bale or Kevin Quick. I can't remember. But dude, that video was weird. It was like super weird to see. Where it's like, it looks like it's from the '60s.
Yep.
It was a 62. It was a camera from 1962. It looked like it was from the 60s.
Yep.
But everyone's dressed normal. Like they're dressed like they're from the like. You see like the cars are all modern. It's like it's so weird to watch, and everything.
Yeah. He also did his SpaceX pop culture mashup. Really cool video. It was really cool video that he made. Oh, he's got a picture of the camera.
Yeah, here.
What is it? A Super 8?
I don't know what it is, but
yeah, it's a Canon Super 8. That is so cool.
It's 1964 really camera. It's like you look at the VAB,
and
you're like, that's a video from 1964. All right.
Yeah.
You've seen that before. But then like you start turning, and you have the modern cars.
Yep.
And then you start turning, and you have
the old bus.
Oh, there's Chris. Like,
I love it.
There's Chris.
I love it. It goes VAB, modern car, old bus.
Old bus. Oh, those buses are so old.
Oh
yeah. Those are old buses. Oh yeah.
Well,
There are new ones that KSC Visitor Complex has. Those are nice. The new Visitor Complex buses for tours. Those are nice. But for press, not great buses. Those are old buses.
Those are old school buses they got.
I can't remember who bussed us around on the ULA social. I think they had the Visitor Complex do it. They rented a bus from the Visitor Complex. So I think those old buses are NASA, so they don't have to pay for that. I think, but
really,
yeah, maybe because you don't see those being ran at all as Visitor Complex buses. And
well, I wouldn't know.
They don't
I've
say
never
Kennedy
had the
Space Center. Well, they do say Kennedy Space Center, but it's all white. They're not designed at all. They probably
did somebody hand paint Kennedy Space Center on it?
It looks like it's how a school bus is painted on.
Oh,
yellow school buses. It's all in the same font. It's just a different word for the different school, the different school district.
You see the old school district name underneath where they tried to paint over it but didn't put enough coats on. It's like a bargain basement church bus.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez.
I used to when I went to a youth conference for my church when I was in high school.
Mhm.
We got a really nice bus. We had 2 buses because we're one of the largest schools going or churches going. Got a nice bus. We're driving. It was still miserable. It doesn't matter how nice a bus it is. It's still a miserable. From Milwaukee all the way down to New Orleans, still a miserable trip.
Oh yeah, that trip. You told me about that.
Well, the first time was San Antonio. The second time we went to New Orleans. Oh my gosh, we found a church that came out from Nevada. Through a bus all the way from Nevada and like a minivan. Like it was the church. Like it was the church bus, and it was old, and they just barely made it. And it's like, oh man, I can't imagine. Like,
Jeez.
oh man, cannot imagine that. No, that was my favorite trip. Got to learn how it feels like to get your flight canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Because I bust down, but I was flying to Michigan for I think my family reunion or something.
Mm-hmm.
Southwest Computers shut down nationwide,
Ooh.
not locally. The servers, the nationwide
Ooh.
servers, all of them shut down. I still don't know why. I think someone said it was actually a cyber attack or something, but no. So the airport could only know, like obviously air traffic control could know, like knew when all the flights were coming, but like you can't really get that information across that well, and especially that quick. So the agents of like the agents at the door will only know flights leaving. They don't know if flights are coming.
Wow.
And so I'm sitting there. I'm like at New Orleans, and I'm just like, I just need to get out of here because half of that conference flew in, so it's completely jam packed. I'm like, there's 2 tickets. I was fine with a friend. There are 2 tickets on this flight. Okay, we're going. We're going to I think it was Tampa. I was supposed to have a direct flight to Detroit. Flew to Tampa. Get to Tampa.
Jeez.
I'm like, I need to get to either Milwaukee or Detroit or Grand Rapids or Chicago, anywhere. And they pretty much gave us like 4 days free travel to get back. And and he goes like, no, the lady goes, well, there's a flight leaving from Milwaukee from Fort Lauderdale. I don't know if it's actually going to leave, but there's a flight possibly leaving for Fort Lauderdale in the morning, so you might be able to make it. And I'm like, deal. Deal. Took it not even knowing, and luckily it all wouldn't happen. But it was great. There was an ICE agent who was on my same flight to Tampa who needed to get to DC, I think. My dad was an ICE agent. My dad's never acted as arrogant as his ICE agent did. He flashed his badge as much as possible. They did not.
Lord.
They did not give a crap.
Oh Lord, one of those types.
They did not give a. And he was like, he was short, older, and like gun, probably trigger, like probably badge heavy, like everywhere he went to, like. Oh my gosh, I saw him and I'm like, shut up. Like, no one cares.
Jeez.
Yeah. Did we get through everything we got through? Did we?
Yeah.
Meme of the week.
Meme of the week.
Oh, wait, there is one more thing about Starlink.
Uh-oh.
You saw the fairings?
Yeah, I did. And
so
actually,
one fairing made it. Another fairing
didn't.
One fairing did. One fairing didn't make it.
Did it?
One fairing came out unharmed. One fairing did not make it home unharmed.
You know, I started thinking about it, and I don't think anyone else has said it, but with the way these fairings are getting damaged and the fact that they're recovering all the pieces, they're not breaking up in flight.
Yeah,
they're busting them as they bring them on board.
It might be when they hit water. That's what my test is. They hit water.
I'll concede that it could be when they hit water. If they're coming down.
Kyle, fast. I love Kyle Montgomery. He always gets great pictures, but you can tell these came in at night because you can see the grain. So that was if you ever done a port chase before, Daryl, you haven't done a port chase, right?
Like not a legit port chase where you stalk out and wait for them to come in. I have gone there and seen a booster being offloaded before. Yeah. But I wasn't waiting for anything to come in.
Low-key, port chases are my new favorite. Like, I think they're, like, I don't want to say rocket launches have gotten old, but, like, I kind of know what to expect from a rocket launch. Port chases are great. They're like a new rush. Like,
you know what? One day we're going to have to do, like, a live episode port chase from there when I'm in town.
I want to do one when I haven't seen a booster come in yet. I have not seen a booster vertical on a like coming at all from the port.
I got lucky seeing one after OFT back in December because I skipped whatever mission it was before. I don't think it was a Starlink. I think it was something else. No, it might have been a Starlink. Who knows these days? Probably a Starlink. But yeah, I just said, well, I know there's a booster in port. Let me go take a peek, and it was really cool.
Yeah. Oh, these are just of the half they survived. But no, you can definitely tell that these run night because literally the only thing you can do is bump up your ISO all the way. Oh, hiccup. Bump up your ISO all the way up because that's the only way you're gonna see anything.
That's what got me the last time I was trying to catch rocket ship passing down the Mississippi. It was like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, still pitch black out, and like, oh crap, this thing's moving fast. I need a fast shutter speed. I got to ramp up the ISO too, and it was too late.
I luckily did some. I did my first port chase with IFA with the capsule coming in, and oh yeah, that we luckily had a news site coming in. They had their massive spotlight.
Yeah.
Massive spotlight. And the guy comes up like, would it ruin your shot if I did that? I'm like, nope. Go right ahead. Do it. We'll love it.
And I'm sure the other guys on the other side of the port were like, Jesus Christ,
where
the hell is that light coming
from?
from?
What the hell is this going on? Why is there a massive light coming from Jenny Park? These port chases gotta
Y'all
chill.
are getting ridiculous.
Well, like for him, that was the only way he was going to see anything for him for his cinema like his camera. He was running like the probably Arri Alexa, something like that, which probably would have great dynamic range. I've been watching a lot of cinematic movies, YouTube channels, videos, cinematic YouTube videos, like
that guy you told me about,
like Potato Jet.
Yeah, but yeah,
I've been watching a lot. I can tell between the difference between an Arri Alexa and a Red quite easily now, quite easily, and it's actually not that hard.
All I know is I want a cinema lens, but they're all too damn expensive.
As long as you know how to tell, like, it's literally, Arri Alexa has better dynamic range. And that's literally all it is. So,
okay.
Like, if you look at it, video and you're like, wow, that looks just like a normal skin tone, that's Arri Alexa. Like, especially during low light. Like, you should watch it side by side. Like, it does not surprise me why most of Hollywood films are filmed on Arri Alexas. Because they're just so much better than Reds. Yeah. But
anyway.
Yes.
If we're sharing the meme of the week, I guess now it's my turn. It's nice to see a resurgence of the style of meme. The good old John Travolta, like, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Twice in a row now, no less.
Yep.
And, you know, poor drone ship. There's like, I can do this. Where you at? But the ghost strikes again. I'm telling y'all, the ghost is a real thing. The ghost is a real thing. Ever since IFA, you know, I don't want to say it, but they're cursed. They might be a little cursed. I don't know.
So, oh gosh.
So I think
my screen with you, Sean. Let me pull up my screen, which is blocked for you for a little bit. Give me a second.
I can see it.
Come on, there we go. Transition. All right, cool. So mine is it might be a little hard for everyone listening to understand, but hopefully you guys watching will get it quite quickly. You have a picture of Sir Isaac Newton. I don't think you understand the gravity of the situation. And then you have Einstein. I believe I am relatively aware of it. And then you have Darwin. Guys, don't let this evolve into a huge argument.
Man, that's a young picture of Einstein. I've never seen that one before.
That's a very young picture. That's back when that was... Well, he was probably still quite old in that picture. But.
Yeah, but that's well before he stuck a fork in a wall socket to get that hairstyle that we all know.
Oh my gosh!
Well before that.
Bro, look at Newton's hair. Dude, straight up.
That's a painting. But that's a painting.
Newton in that painting looked like the guitarist from Queen.
Brian May.
Dr. Brian May.
Dr. Brian May, yes, astrophysicist and guitarist of Pink Floyd. Wait, Queen or Pink Floyd?
Oh, I just found a better meme.
Do it.
Okay, that's a tiny picture. Why is that so small? Do you see
Where?
it? Do you see the picture?
Yeah.
Do you...
Oh, yeah.
It's a bunch of Heineken with a face mask.
Oh, a current events meme. Current events meme. Nice. Nice.
I think this was actually like something about. Oh no, this is from. This is SciComm. Never mind. I don't know what this is from, but. Yep.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Yeah, that
flexing in 2019, flexing in 2020. It's a picture
man,
of
that
picture of AirPods next to some hand sanitizer.
I tell you what, that coronavirus is gonna be what most everybody's talking about these days. Man, we're gonna have to talk about. We're gonna have to expand what we talk about. Like, what are you playing to keep sane?
I've actually been back playing Kerbal Space Program.
You know, I've struggled to get back into it a little bit, but I found something else on the good old Xbox. Have you tried the Outer Wilds?
I have
Not the
not.
Outer Worlds, but the Outer Wilds.
I'll
It's
probably be. Oh, what? Sorry.
it's it, it's I- it's tough to describe, but it's basically you're a little alien character on this Earth-looking planet, but it's all like a bunch of really tiny planets in a solar system, and you have this little wooden rocket ship. You fly around to all of them, learn clues and whatnot. It's weird because there's a time mechanic, kind of like Majora's Mask from the Legend of Zelda on the N64 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's a mechanic like that, and there's also some things in it that's like really like 2001: A Space Odyssey sci-fi weird to it, but it's in a good way. It's really cool. If you got a chance, check it out. It's really a lot of fun. I just finished it this morning.
I still have to finish Star Wars.
Which one? The
Jedi
movie?
Fallen Jedi.
Oh,
The game.
oh.
It's actually such a great game. Oh my gosh, such a great game.
You know, I want to get back into Battlefront.
Dude,
Star Wars Battlefront
you've
2.
played the original too, right?
I dabbled in them.
Bro, you can get them on Steam. Still, and you can play them at. I got mine for only like I think it was like $5. I got both of them, but they were on sale.
Honestly, if I'm going to an old school Star Wars game, I'm gonna do X-wing TIE Fighter and X-wing Alliance. Yeah, I will
love.
venture out of the house to go get my joystick out of storage just to play those again. But
I
yes.
have a Star Wars. Oh, what Star Wars game is it for the N64?
Ew.
Oh, dude, it was a great game. It was probably
Act-
it was like
Actually,
it was. I can't remember what it was all about, but I think it was Oh, it was all. I just remember a bunch of Hoth stuff, but it's all back with my parents back in Wisconsin. And
you know what I
want to
heard?
get my parents to send it all to me.
I've heard that you know the old space combat sim games like TIE Fighter and whatnot. Apparently, people have figured out a way to adapt a VR headset to work with them, so you can actually look around in the cockpit while you're flying. Because all it does is act like a mouse movement. Because you know you move the mouse, it moves your head around and things like
You
that.
know
So
what
that's
I
all.
might get with my
Uh-oh.
with my
Wh-
tax refund?
What are you gonna get?
I might get DCS World with a really nice joystick combo thing.
You gonna get what?
DCS World? You ever played? You never know what DCS World is?
No.
Oh, it's like the most accurate flight sim. Like, you know DOS, right?
No, never met him.
Duh, you know DOS. So he one of the other streamers of KSP called Rocketology. You ever heard of him? You know Rocketology?
No.
Okay, so he's another streamer. He's not quite as big as DOS, but he's like in the same group of people.
Okay.
He was I think it was an F-14 pilot. He was I don't remember what service. I think Air Force. Is there Air Force or Navy? But he used to fly F-14s, and he has the F-14 in DCS World, and he says it's exactly the same. He goes in, he flips all these switches like he knows what he's doing. You know, he loads like it takes about like you can't hop in a plane and like be ready to fly right away. He says like usually it takes you about 15 minutes to get ready to fly. Because you have to warm up the engines. You have to like make sure everything's fueled up. You have to switch on all the switches in the right order. Otherwise, you'll do something wrong. You have to start all over.
Wait, is this free?
So I think the game is free. and you'll get a few starter planes. But like, if you want to get the F-14, it's like $100.
Shit.
Like, if you want to get the individual planes, they're like 80 to like a couple, like $100 and some dollars. But like, they're to the T, almost 1-to-1.
No way.
Yeah, you can get a Mustang, like a P-51 Mustang, F-14 Tomcat. I think it's like F-16s. There's a lot of military planes.
MiG-29,
Yeah.
F-14. Oh, the F-14 is down to $63 right now.
And it's like, he's like, I was talking with him about getting it. He's like, it's gonna take a few months. It's like, there's Kerbal learning curve, and then there's DCS World learning curve. Like, you actually have to learn how to fly a plane.
There's an F-18 Hornet. Oh my god.
So here's something to understand, like the level of detail that they put into the game that make it realistic. Wake turbulence.
What?
You know what wake turbulence is?
Yeah.
That's in the game.
Wow.
And there was like, they have a video of them showing, like, they turned on like indicators so you can see a plane fly. Like, if anyone knows what does people know what wake turbulence is? If you get caught in wake turbulence behind a plane and you're a smaller plane, you get flipped upside down. They're caused by the end of the wing going off the end of the wing, the wind going off the end of the wing, and then there's like two little spirals behind the back. They're vortexes. They're not spirals. They're 3-dimensional, so they're vortexes. If you guys ever seen the shuttle land, it's quite easy to see because usually when it lands, it kicks up the dust on the runway, which gets stuck in those vortexes. I think it's a lot easier to see when they land at White Sands. There's a whole bunch of like dust that vortexes up when it touches.
Oh wow, P-51D is only $25.
I don't remember what the planes that come with it.
SU-33? What? Okay. Oh, what? SU-27.
I think we have
F-15.
lost Daryl. But I've thought about actually spending like $100 on like the flight stick and stuff like that. And because
I'm sorry. What were we talking about?
What were we doing? We were doing a podcast. Were we doing a podcast? What happened?
Podcast? What's that?
But
I'm lost.
I'll probably end up playing some more Call of Duty. They just came out with a Battle Royale, which I've heard is quite good.
Yeah, it's free, so why not?
Oh, is it free?
On Xbox.
Oh, I already have the full game, so I get it. But
okay.
I buy it every year because I'm a loser.
I've got to do Crackdown 3. I just downloaded that last night, so I got to get into that finally. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing and catching up on podcasts and.
So, we've talked about not doing this for where the start, but I think this is actually This is to be the last thing. This is actually good to keep us accountable. Within the next week, what are you working on?
Oh.
You can tell I have not talked to him about this at all before the episode.
What am I working on? Not catching coronavirus.
Alright. You don't want to work on any of those videos on YouTube? You have plenty of free time.
Oh, I'm getting called out, aren't I? It's funny. I actually put a feeler out there to my cousin, who's a grade school teacher, and with everything going on, I put up on Facebook that we had a very clear ISS pass the other night. So I told everybody on Facebook, get outside, look up right now, that bright star moving across the sky. Even my parents' neighbor was standing outside next to me watching it just fly right overhead. And afterwards, my cousin's like, yeah, my kids didn't believe you.
Oh my gosh.
My kids didn't believe you. I'm like, are you serious? I asked her, I'm like, Robin, would it be helpful, beneficial to you and other teacher friends if I, did some kind of videos that, could be used in classrooms, depending on the grade level. It talks about basic physics stuff, science stuff, chemistry stuff, whatever, as it, relates to the program or to the space program. So they have, something to relate it to, not just, shit out of a textbook that bores you to death like it did to me at that age. She said, Yeah, sure. So I said, all right, whatever you want, let me know. I'll make it. Just give me some time to research it so I don't make myself sound like a complete idiot. So, any teachers out there, or anybody who knows teachers out there, get the word out to them. I'm willing to make some videos, basic descriptions of stuff, and give me time to make it, and I'll have it out for you. I'll take requests. I'm like a video DJ. I'll take requests. Keeping you up all night. 99.5 WRNO.
Yeah, you definitely do have the face of radio.
Yes, I have a. There will be a lot of voiceover. But no, in the meantime, I will try and do some reading. I still need to catch up on this guy right here. This.
Oh yeah.
It's 3 volumes. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
It's obnoxious and it's heavy. Holy shit. Oh, good. Oh, okay. But yeah, I need to catch up on that, do some reading on that, and yeah, just hunker down and wash your damn hands and stop going out, y'all. Stay the F home. Hashtag.
Stop going to the beach.
Jeez. Yeah, stop going to the beach. We're not going to talk about any more of that doom and gloom.
Mm-hmm.
We're done.
Okay, I will answer my own question as well.
Yes, what are you working on?
I have a code name for my app. Calling it Project Star Stuff. Because that's a horrible name. That's a horrible name for an app. So that's gonna be the code name. I'm gonna work on getting a rough UI for that setup.
Oh, okay.
Still not talking about it on the podcast. I don't want that shit stolen.
Is it iPhone or Android?
It will be iPhone at the start.
Well, can't help you. Sorry.
I do know how to develop from Android. I hate developing for Android. If it is going to be on Android, it is going to be a hell of a limited app. It's going to be like, oh, I'm sorry, you don't support the most current version of Android? Yep, you're not getting it.
I have a Pixel 4. I'm good.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think Pixel is the most current. I'm not sure which one. But
yes, it is.
Android API levels are really weird. So, but that's what I'm working on. Hopefully,
whatever. Stick with your iPhone.
I also want to get through maybe a book. I'm not sure which book. Maybe Last Man on the Moon.
Audiobooks.
Nah, man. I'm old school.
Audiobooks.
I'm old school.
But all right. I think that's gonna do it for us tonight.
Yeah. So thank everyone for listening. Thank everyone for coming out to the live stream. We will catch you guys next week for the big episode of episode 10.
Peace and chicken grease, y'all.